Hey, good morning, everybody. I want to talk about my favorite new class that I'm giving out this year is the How Journal, HOW. In fact, I brought mine right here, right? The book of how am I going to do this? And what I like about the How Journal is we have two versions of it. We have a live one and we have one that's online. And the one that's online is lovely. And that's the one that's coming up next. And the How Journal is, again, it's to change the way that you are using your journal to get your life moving forward, how to be a little more expansive. What I love about a How Journal. So first of all, I learned how to do this technique in a place very different. I learned how to do it when I was learning about hostage negotiation and just working on negotiations in general. And asking a how question is really a tool to help free up an opportunity, right? To get things, to get the mind that feels really caged, to be able to start unwrapping itself and get forward to a solution. So when things are tense, or when you start to feel that you have obstacles, or that you're in a place where your life is going to change, or it's not changing. I love this product. I love this project. It's really a project. It's something you can do by yourself in just 20 minutes. So it's a way to ask for more, to build opportunity, to work with your ideas differently, and in 20 minutes, start to build an action plan. So, in How Journal starts with a HOW, a how question. How would I do this? And of course, right, we know that I love questions because that's what I do a lot. And so we can ask real big questions, right? How do I make $30,000 more this year? Sure, you can have a question like that. But where a how question is a little bit more magic is when we give it a constraint, right? And a constraint is something that's pushing against us. And we have a lot of constraints because a lot of you are writing goals, you're doing targets, you're making a daily task list. This is another kind of thing. It's really to practice more of that prosperity mindset, right? Action energy, getting something to expand. Not just, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. So really looking at changing the energy of how, that's that expansion energy. It's unlocking a cage that may have a perceived obstacle. And we have obstacles because our life is like a melody of everything. All of you have complex lives. All of you are complex people. So it's easy to see how it's the answer can shield or cover itself from your everyday choices. So we want to kind of go back to, right, we are blessed to be a blessing. Let's go through, let's ask a new question. And when we ask better questions, we really start to build other things. So an example would be, right, how can I build more intimacy in my current relationships? That would be a how question. And then you just literally, I usually do one question and a 2-page spread. And then we just kind of go give it as much space as you can. That way you can draw pictures, you can color on it, you can do art journal on it. But it's in many of those questions I'm working on over time. The reason I encourage everyone to get a journal like this, right? Mine is how, and I really just put my how questions in there. And sometimes all I got to was, a piece of it. I'm an artistic person, so I found this map of a place I wanted to go, right? How can I get to spend a month at this location? And so you're going to look for all the ways that you are. And a lot of times you're just going to put a note in there on how to, what's coming to mind. What I love about a how journal for all of you who are business owners is that we can start putting all of you together in one room. And now you can start looking at these how questions and really building in community, because you're all asking the same questions, right? How do I get people to invest in maybe a project? Or how do I get people to see the value of the investment in this project? And now we have a how question, and people can easily come into that, but you can also come into that, and your mind can come into that. The way I explain it in class is it's building a mental map so that someone can move forward. So we want your mind to be able to grab something and go, oh, I know where I'm at now. If you've ever played the old game of Pac-Man, right? Right, it's a path that you can now start to pick up the pebbles. And that's what this does. If you have ever been in the complete darkness and you're just looking for the doorknob, that this is that concept, right? Where you go, let me just get to the doorknob. And even if it's still dark after the doorknob, if you can just get to that doorknob, your brain will automatically fill in the rest of the map for you. And that's what a how journal does, is if we ask the right question, then now your brain has a place, it has a doorknob that it can turn, and now it has a mental map that you can kind of feel your way through to get to a destination. And for you, that destination might be the light switch. And for us as people who are creating and building things, that is the light switch of let's go. Here's how I can see it go. We see these types of journals with questions and answers. We see them in big business a lot. We see this with executives a lot. I'm just bringing the concept to you in an everyday way that we can use in your business, because that's what I do, right? I'm a business strategist. But we can also use them to build more interesting things in your life. I also really love a how journal for those of you who are working through really big things. If you're packing up your life and moving it, and you have to do lots of new things at the same time, a how journal is really popular, is really possible. The other thing that I like about a how journal is if you are looking to do a much deeper level of self-exploration, because now you can ask the questions that are a little more tricky and a little more complex, right? So when I think about that, right, how am I an advocate in my own life? When I look at that, right, how can I show empathy and more love for creatures, all creatures in the world every single day, right? So you can put a constraint on it. So when we're in class, it's 3 hours. There's a reason it's 3 hours, because you really takes that long to get good at asking a good how question. It's not just how can I do something, it's how can I do something and what's the constraint. And that right there at the little bit on the end is how it makes it kind of magic. So I'd like to walk you through that process. Again, it's once a year. This year we built it, so I'm going to do it live with groups. I've been doing this with many of you one-on-one as an exercise to get through obstacles, but now I'm going to open it up, and we'll get to have a lot more. And I made a list of how questions, and they're great. So I can't wait to see you, and we'll see you in class. So if you have any other questions for me, you know how to find me. I'm the only person on earth with my name. So I will see you in class. Bye.